Hello again, everyone. In keeping with tradition that I established last time, I decided to start off at a different bonfire than where I ended last time, just to save you guys the run back. But I am going to subject you to me eating some souls. um, yeah, I wanted to go ahead and... Oh no, okay. Going to go ahead and get some shards. I forget how many I'll need, so I'll go with 7. And then shields still count as weapons, so reinforce this. And... oh, actually, it's probably down here. Probably the one that I had equipped. How about that? Go ahead and upgrade our iron round shield because it's the bomb. There we go. Now we've got a +5 or +4, so yeah, we do need the 2 more shards, which is what I thought. I just wasn't sure if what the progression path on those was. It's been a while since I've played. Oh, need one more. There we go. Reinforce weapon. And this just increases the stability from 55 up to 60, which is not fantastic, but it's not the worst either. But like I said, the deflection is going to more than make up for that. So, today, on the agenda, we're going to be going towards Capra and towards the depths. And I think that it is faster to go through Firelink to... or... let's see. Yeah, definitely be faster to go through Firelink to get to Capra. So, we've got a little bit of a trek no matter what I did, but I didn't want to off-screen something as important as upgrading our shield. Why'd he come back with a +5 shield? What is this magic? How could he have done this? I'm so confused. And actually, the cool part about this is it's going to allow us to get the large ember, which will let us +10 our gear, which is going to be nice. And I think that means that we could +10 a crossbow as well. I'm not sure who sells them, but I'm sure there's a merchant that does. But I think that our +5 fire crossbow is actually going to outclass a +10 normal crossbow. Not sure. Could be worth experimenting with. And I also thought about doing little ninja flip experiments because I wasn't sure exactly like if that little ninja flip is necessarily longer than a normal roll animation, but I just don't care. It looks cool. Makes me feel better about myself. So we're sticking with that. It's so much better when it was a you could have up to 50% armor. Oh my god. Check out that guy. Full stone armor and a flying drake sword. I think he might be pro. Watch out, world. But nah, it's good. If it's a new player, I'm glad that he's part of the community. This is truth. Alright. So actually, speaking of new players and good communities, I wanted to touch a little bit on Dota, because I was thinking about it. I actually, I think I've talked about it before on my channel. If I haven't, then I definitely meant to, because it's one of like the 4 games that I love to play. It's like this, Path of Exile, I guess Binding of Isaac, Nier. There are a lot of recurring themes, but Dota is definitely up there as well. But one of the things that I wanted to touch on, somebody wrote about this today. They're saying basically the community for Dota is less caustic than the community for League of Legends. And, like, I haven't played League, so I actually can't speak to if it's more or less caustic than the other community. But I kind of understand why any community in MOBA would be that defensive, because, and this is again what I've heard, I don't mean to insult anyone, be like, Dota's so much better. But I've heard that basically the skill cap for Dota is a little bit higher as the punishments are more punishing. Where if you mess up, then you're definitely going to be much worse off for it. Like I think when your character dies, you lose... yeah, you lose gold when your character dies, which is unique to Dota when compared to League of Legends. And I could be wrong on all this, so don't take it too harsh. Because it's not really what I'm going for as a comparison between the two, because hey, people playing games. People playing games is always a good thing. Doesn't matter what they're playing. They could be playing Call of Duty, they could be playing My Little Pony. People playing games being happy, that's a good thing. We're all gamers. But what I wanted to touch on was the community behind it. Because a lot of people say, you know, like, oh, if you're going to play a in a MOBA, well, good luck dealing with all the drama kings who only want to play their one role. Good luck getting flamed when you don't know what you're doing. People yelling at you for not playing your role right. People reporting you for feeding. And it's intimidating. And certainly that. But, oh, actually I messed up. I always forget the path. Um, I'm used to doing sequence breaking, and I never follow the same sequence because I have ADD a little bit. Gotta go up this way. But to an extent, in a game like Dota, I mean, I played it for 40 hours before I understood what was going on. The first time that you sit and you play a MOBA, especially if you haven't played an RTS game, there's a significant learning curve. There's a concept that's called last hitting, and I don't know how many people are familiar with MOBAs and this kind of jargon, so I'm just going to explain it all. So last hitting means that there are neutral enemies that spawn in the middle that aren't controlled by the player or the computer. So these guys give you gold, but they only give you the gold if you're the last person to hit them when they die. So you basically you wait until the AI-controlled guys stop fighting. Sorry, between burps and concentration, it's difficult to tell a story here. But you wait until the AI-controlled guys have kind of whittled each other down, and at the very last second, you kill the creep. You kill the AI-controlled guy, and by doing that, you get the money for it. Oh, yep, I went the wrong way. I'm so good at this, guys. So by killing him, then you get the money, you get the experience, and there's a lot of other stuff that can go along with this. But the thing is, you should not never. There are situations where you do want to attack them when they have more than a sliver of health left, but 99% of the time, it's only correct to attack them when you're trying to get the gold for killing them by being the last person to touch it. And ninja flip. And at least for me, I had come from playing, you know, not MOBAs in any way. And this, yeah, shoot. Maybe I just go through the normal way. Maybe I just do that. Because we've seen how well that worked out with Havel, right? But this time, I have a flippy ring. I don't have to take no guff. I could be like, check out these flips. And the enemies would be like, dang! Did you see his sick moves? He just flipped through that door! How'd he get behind me? He's so flippy! Yeah, so the thing is about Dota, yeah, that was much easier. The thing is about Dota, that concept, every time that I play a game, you play an RTS and you're like, kill the dudes. Are there dudes there? Yes, kill them. Click on them until they're dead. Just keep clicking. And then your hero has 4 unique abilities. And every time you're like, oh, is this ability off cooldown? I should totally be using this. Does it deal damage to a hero? I'll use this to damage the hero. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm out of magic. Why am I out of magic? This is dumb. I want to use my abilities more. But you have to, like, ration it out. So there's a lot of different ways that you have to break your thought process into how to properly play the game. And it's not intuitive. A lot of them are just these really not obtuse ideas. They make sense when you get in the context of the meta, but there are things that you just have to learn. So, like I was saying, I put 40 hours just learning the game, and that didn't include all the videos that I had watched, that didn't include coaching from people who had been playing the game at work or online, that didn't include reading blogs, stuff like that. So overall, it probably took me about 60 hours until I felt confident enough to play a game online against real people. So when somebody comes in, if they've put 0 hours into that, and it's the very first time that they're playing, wow, they're missing all of that context. They're missing the nuance. They're missing all of the reasoning that the good players have. So it's not about being mean. It's just that you are entering somebody else's house trying to play their game, and you have no idea what you're doing. It's like if, you know, your little sister comes in to play Monopoly, and she just starts, like, throwing all the pieces across the board, and she's like, I rolled a 7. That means I get to move diagonally across the board. And you're like, no, it doesn't. Don't do that. That's what it's like. It's that same kind of frustration of just like, no, please literally do anything else. Stop! I don't want to talk to you. And
Well, I'm fine.
yay. Okay. So I mean that's why the communities come off as being caustic against new players is because, I mean, really, it's not a new player's game. It's not something. It's not something like a Call of Duty. Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't do the door trick. Oh well, it's not a big deal. It's not something like a Call of Duty where a level 1 player who's never played the game before can get into a lobby and take out a player who's at level, whatever the prestige is, 60, 85, whatever it is. 85 is World of Warcraft, or at least it was. But it's not like that. You are going into something completely different where terrible players play terribly. And so, and on top of that, it's a 50-minute match, it can be, and you're playing on a team with 4 other people against 5 other people. So you're not letting yourself down by playing at a lower skill level. You're letting the entire team down, and well, you do have to be understanding because, like I was saying before, it doesn't matter what you're playing as a game, because as long as you're playing a game, then gaming's good, then gaming's thriving. But I don't know. Just put in your due diligence. Be respectful of the other people playing, I guess. Wow. It is so much better than those, but you can probably upgrade them to be decent. Alright. Time for me to shut up for a little bit. It's everyone's favorite boss, Capra Dapra. And hopefully you're going to see exactly why I like to have this shield. Oops. Think. What's the matter, bro? What's the matter? You want to attack? Yeah, you got nothing on this shield. You got nothing on it. So, any of his two-handed attacks are, of course, still going to not deflect off, but they are not going to get through for any damage as long as you have sufficient stamina. So let's go ahead and do that just to get this dog down. This D-O-G-E dog. And because we are dealing with a boss, we can only use the crossbow, hence the BossBow run. But you're not going to see me fall into a temptation not to use it against this guy. I mean, hell, it's practically built for him. But let's see if I can bait out a single-handed attack. Oh, ninja dodge! Ninja dodge! And dink. It's so satisfying. Dink. Dink. Oh man, it renders him totally useless. It's so fantastic. This guy, even after beating this game like 5 times, I'd still be like, oh, the Capra Demon. You have to fight this asshole goat monster in an arena the size of a shoebox, and he can one-shot you down. He's got these 2 annoying dogs, and it's just like, dink. Hey, you know what? You're down. Ah, that feels so good. That's why I love this shield. That is 100% why. Alright, so now we've got the key to the depths. Just do a little time check here. So still have probably about 10 minutes or so left. Dink. Would you like to buy a dink? Oh, I didn't even use boss bolts against him either. That would have made it marginally faster. So one of the other things I wanted to touch on, as long as I was talking about Dota, because I do enjoy it, and, well, actually 2 things I want to touch on. We'll see if I have time. Because playing Dota, because of the very reasons that I listed, and I don't know if people will get this, if they'll grok what I'm laying down here, but it's very competitive, fiercely competitive, and if you fail, you are letting down your team, and oh, that just gives me knots in my stomach. So I played 60 hours against actual opponents instead of playing against a computer, against bots, and every time that I played, I just got so nervous, where it's like, it literally makes me want to throw up just to look for a match in that game, just because of the pressure of doing well and not letting down people who are depending on me because they've put forward that time. Okay, she sells bolts. Why not? So I really haven't been playing it lately, because you have to have this, hour time commitment. You have to be in the right mindset. You can't be too tired to play. You have to know what you're doing. You have to have like your wrist warmed up, all that good stuff. I'm like, I can't do it. But another interesting thing about that game is Valve actually shows the top 100 most played games at any given time, and I believe that it's for a 24-hour window, and that's by the current players and the peak amount of concurrent players. So the most amount of people who have been playing it in the past 48 hours at a single time, and how many people are playing it exactly at this moment. So you look at Dota, and Dota currently has, it's going to be about 500,000 as the peak, and about 225 as the current user base. And without context, you don't know. Like, is that good? And actually, you can see the butcher right here. Haha, made you look. I hope that she's not going to eat him now. That would suck. Or aggro on me and like come running up here, but either way, I'm kind of cool with that, actually. That'd be fine. But the next highest game on Valve's top 100, I feel like this is a Letterman sketch all of a sudden. The next highest game is actually Team Fortress 2, and it goes down to like 50,000. So Dota is literally something like 10 times bigger than the next biggest game on Steam. It's insane. And if you look at the full list, there's actually a lot of really cool stuff that you can pick out from that. Some of my highlights were, there's Dota, Team Fortress 2, and Path of Exile are all in the top 10 most, or maybe not top 10, but at least the top 20. And they're all free-to-play games. And you look at the free-to-play games that are out there, and there is a lot to choose from as far as those go that are doing super well. And I'm like, that, it starts to make sense. Because, I mean, I see a lot of people complaining whenever a game goes up. Whenever somebody is like, we're going to publish a new MOBA for, just recently it was, what was the brand? Warhammer. They're like, we're going to make a Warhammer MOBA. And people are like, enough with the MOBAs. Just let MOBA die. Nobody needs another MOBA. And, you know, you think of it from the perspective of players who are kind of saturated, or people who like Dota. Like, I like Dota because it's Dota. I don't think I would like Dota more if it were StarCraft, or not StarCraft, Warhammer. Which, by the way, Space Marine, fantastic game. But then you look at from a publisher's standpoint, and all of a sudden you realize, well, okay, Dota is outperforming the next nearest game 10 times over. Literally 10 times over, they're outperforming it. And then you look at what League of Legends is pulling in for the amount of people playing their game, and you've probably got, you know, another Dota-sized pool of people playing. So all of a sudden, there's this huge market that came out of absolutely nowhere. Where did she go? Oh, that is gonna frighten me.
You. Yes.
Thought I saw her. Almost freaked me out. But yeah, there's this huge pool of people who are playing MOBAs. So from a marketing point of view, it totally makes sense. Why wouldn't you try and go after that segment? And then the other thing that people like to complain about, because it's the internet and complaining is free and everyone has a voice, is free to play. And again, look at the top game on Steam. There were 7 million concurrent Steam users. That's their new base. And out of that, 500,000 at any one time were playing Dota. We're playing a free-to-play MOBA. So that means that it would be 1/14 of their user base, which, oh, so that's where you go to, huh? 1/14 of their user base. Where the hell would she be heading? At any given time, is playing MOBA. Is playing Dota, rather. A MOBA. So I mean, like, and then you look at free-to-play, and you combine the numbers that you get for all free-to-play games. If you combine Path of Exile and Dota and Team Fortress 2 and whatever it is, like Warframe and every other free-to-play game, it's this huge chunk of the market. It's probably at least 10% of all concurrent users on Steam at any given time are playing a free-to-play game. So when you look at the free-to-play model and you keep going, why would they go after free-to-play? That's why. Because it makes money. Because it's wildly successful. So of course they're going to do it. The same reason that, you know, if you see a shooter being really successful, you're going to make another shooter. And also the reason I'm doing huge damage against these slime monsters is because they are weak to fire. And I'm using a fiery crossbow. Makes sense, yeah? So, I don't know. I think a lot of the people complaining on the internet about why people are going after these flavors of the week and why the free-to-play market is so huge and why microtransactions are the devil are just a little bit off base because the numbers absolutely support what the publishers are doing. Whether or not they make it right or whether or not they make it better is up for a completely different story. But the numbers support it, is basically what I'm getting at. And I honestly think, and I'm just going to do some running around here while I explain this thought, because I think that I'm getting pretty close to the time on this. Um, I think that as long as a game doesn't have to be good to be innovative, basically, games can innovate in ways and still be an absolutely terrible game. Like I think Prey not popularized, but included Portal-like mechanics before Portal got really popular. And you see, there aren't a lot of games that are really like heralded as, but not good. Like Gears of War introduced us to cover-based shooting, not really introduced but popularized. Um, so when these other MOBAs come onto the scene, like there's a Dead Island MOBA, a zombie MOBA, and people are saying like, "Oh, it's really dumb." But when they're talking about what they're doing with it, they're saying like, "Yeah, we're going to introduce moving objectives and different ways of capturing things." Or a MOBA could come along that would be like, "We're putting in 3 teams all of a sudden," and just totally shake up the meta. And it may be terribly unpopular, but it might do something that makes it so that it expands the genre. So just because a game isn't good and just because a game is in a saturated genre doesn't mean that it can't provide enough competition for others to look at what they're doing and try and better the game. Because in every event, with consoles and with games, that kind of competition um, it makes it so that you can't be complacent in being in the lead. Dota has to keep on updating and keep on adding new characters and put in events like Dire Tide in order to stay competitive with these new MOBAs that are coming out. It has to keep it fresh so that way players don't go away to other things, which improves it. So those little kind of one-off stupid games that nobody's really paying attention to, they're still benefiting the industry as a whole to have them around, is what I'm getting at. So I'm going to stop philosophizing, and I will catch you guys on the next episode of the BossBow Challenge.